friends, welcome. Thanks for joining me. So tonight we are going to do a tumbler tutorial on this particular tumbler. So this is actually one of my favorites. I do this in a couple different methods, couple different styles, but this is my Geode tumbler. So on this one I have a painted base and then the glitter Geode. I sometimes do it where the whole thing is glitter and then the geode as well is glitter and different things. I've done a really nice one also with some mica powder and over the painted area and then the geode. There's lots of fun ways you can do these. So, but this is really just about, finding some inspiration and some ideas, because they always come out different. Even this tumbler that I've done so many of, it's still always different every time, and it's really about making it your own. So in the video it'll show we'll paint it and we'll put on the geode and the glitter, and then afterwards it'll show it as done. So the part that I do want to tell you about now, you could, once it's painted and the geode's on and it has its epoxy and it's painted, you could leave it there. For me, I like to come back and do a little bit more to it. So after that first coat of epoxy went on, I just gave it a light sanding. I do wet sanding because I just like to make it nice and smooth. So then I went in and I just added to the edging. So I use a combination of paint pens and alcohol ink. So I use paint pens. This is just one that I got on clearance at Target. And then the alcohol inks, these are Mermaid pens. I got them at Michael's. They were 30 something ish. I had a 50% off coupon, so they were somewhere around 17. And now with the alcohol ink pens, you could also, I also use regular alcohol ink and I used my paintbrush. So you don't have to have these pens, I just happen to. And then so with my paintbrush, I use a couple different ones, but usually, I mean, this needs to be cleaned, so don't mind it. But I just wanted to show you, sometimes when I'm doing a cup like this, and I might want some harsh lines with alcohol ink, because alcohol ink is, no matter what, it's not going to leave a super harsh line. But when I want, some more detailed lines, I will dip the edge of my paintbrush in some glue or Mod Podge and let it dry overnight, and then use it the next day with the alcohol ink just to have a nice hard line to it. And then the other thing I wanted to tell you, so with the paint, if you're using paint or paint pens, paint can leave some harsh lines, and I'm really all about more blended lines. I don't like harsh lines so much. So one of the things that I have found, if I use like a paint pen, or if it's regular paint, I can usually take my sponge and blend it out first, but the paint pens dry pretty quick. But I like to use them because you can get, a good draw with them. So with the paint pens, if it's a little harsh and I can't get my alcohol ink to blend super well, what I'll do is I take my tacky glue. So this is Elaine's tacky glue, and it has water mixed in it. So with my tacky glue, once it is down about halfway, then I'll put water in it. I usually do like a 60-40 mix on water. So this already has water in it. But I'll take my tacky glue, put some tacky glue in a container, and then mix my alcohol ink with it, because the alcohol ink mixed with the tacky glue will allow your alcohol ink to actually sit more of where you want it to. So it's easier to blend out a harsh line from like a paint pen, and then the tacky glue dries clear and you just have the alcohol ink in there. So just a tip. And then I will generally, I'll go in, I like to do a lot of highlighting, so go in with like some darker colors and then blend them out. So what I use with the alcohol ink, I'll put it on, and then it's just a makeup sponge, and I cut them in pieces. I actually will probably cut this in half before I use it too, because you just don't need much of it. There's no sense in wasting, even though they're not super expensive. So I'll go in and I just go in and blend, and I'll pull down, I'll blend in, and just apply and blend until you feel super happy with your cup. So these cups are so great, and the hobby is great. It allows you to be super creative. You can be very distinct in the things that you make. You can do something that's a little bit more imaginative, completely up to you. So anyways, I really hope that you enjoy this. I hope it helps you find some inspiration, maybe a tip or two that might help you out. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please hit the subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. It will help me grow my channel so I can continue to bring videos. All right, well, let's get started. And thank you again for joining me. All right, guys, so this guy is dry. With him, what we did was, we did the kind of generic white base coat, and then we put alcohol ink on and blended it with a sponge. So remember, we used the blue, and then we put a little bit of the slate on there, and we did it while the white on the cup was still a little bit wet, and then actually went in and just sort of brushed some more white in there. Okay, so we want this to just sort of look like an old rustic type of effect. Now, the next thing that we're going to do, since this is dry, and I'll end up putting it on fast mode as well. So I have my alcohol markers. Now you can use alcohol ink with a brush, and for any black, you'll see I'm going to use alcohol ink for any black, and I'll use it with a paintbrush. And then, but I have my alcohol ink markers. So basically these are the Jane Davenport Mermaid markers. I like them a lot. I've ordered from AliExpress. I love getting some art stuff from them. It does take a little bit of time for it to come. Some things are faster than others, but I did order from them. They are empties like this, where you could just sort of put your own alcohol ink in there. So when I get them, I'm going to try them, and I'll show them to you and see how it works, because sometimes it's nice to be able to brush your alcohol ink on. Anyways, so now what I'm going to do is, you'll see I'm going to go in and just draw some areas of where I want the geode to be. So we'll do one right now. Get some ink going on my brown. So this is going to be really just however you want your shape to be. Let me turn this a little, sorry. See, how can I move this so that you can see a little better? Sorry about that. All right, so this is going to be, you're just going to kind of draw your different shapes that you want on there. Get my stuff going. And I like to just sort of go in different swirl kind of motions. I do some small ones and some bigger ones. And especially like if I have an area that I feel like I don't necessarily like the paint on it, you see how that's a little lumpy under there? I'll definitely do it there. Let's see. And then there. So what I'll do with this, I'm going to go in, I will take my inks, I'll put a little bit of color through here, a little pink, maybe a little green, and then I'll use my alcohol ink and I'll kind of go in and just make some darker spots. I'll blend through these, sort of pull it out with a sponge, okay? This is just a makeup sponge. And I will go in and then paint through here my glue, and then put on my glitter. After my glitter's on, I'll go in and add a little alcohol ink. So we've done alcohol ink in the past, putting our epoxy on and then putting on the alcohol ink because we wanted it to spin. However, this time I want to be able to place the alcohol ink basically where I want it, not where it wants to go. So for that reason, I'm going to be doing the alcohol ink on the glitter prior to the epoxy and letting it dry first, okay? So I'm gonna use some inexpensive glitter because I'm going to be coloring it with the alcohol ink. So I have a little bit of this white fine left, and I have some pink fine. This was just $2.47 at Walmart. And then I have my chunky glitter. This is from a big jar of chunky I got at Michael's, $9.99, 40% off coupon, and it was quite a large container of it. Now this one though, this one is a Chameleon Chunky. It goes like pink and silver, and I will place a little bit of this in. It will be, oh, as I'm losing it on the table, it will be after though I've already put in the alcohol ink and stuff like that, because you know I'll actually want it to stand out. Okay, and then once it's all dry, then I'll go in and put the epoxy on. Okay. All right. Oh, and these Jane Davenport markers, I have an entire set of them. I'll show you. So this set I got from Michael's. It was $34.99. I did have a 50% off that I used on it, however. So it ended up being about $17, $18, somewhere around there, which isn't bad for the product. All right, so I'm gonna put this on fast mode, do the work, and when I come back, we'll have a finished cup. All right, thanks.